Alright, welcome back for what is possibly the last time to Higanbana no Saku Yoru. I'm your host, Kuxel, and today we will be going through the final chapter, Chapter 7, Before the Spider Lilies Bloomed. I have to admit, going into this, I feel a little bit sad that it will be over. But, whatever, let's get it over with. I will miss this game, and straight away the fucking volume is way too loud. Give me a moment. That'll do. And then get back into it. Okay, that day, the building that used to be used as the schoolhouse was renamed as the Old School Building. As a result of multiple smaller towns merging together and large-scale development, the students and staff of many different schools were brought together under the roof of a new school building. With students coming from so many different schools gathering in classrooms together, a new form of chaos, as well as a new kind of society, developed within those walls. This new school had yet to gain order and rules. The ghost stories and 7 mysteries that should strike fear into the students had yet to be born. An unprecedented number of children gathered at this school, as did various yōkai and evil spirits. Out of this newly born chaos, countless yōkai gathered, trying to establish their territory and make the school their new hunting grounds. Now, the school is being overrun by a myriad of nameless yōkai. Of course, there is no reason to expect such ruthless yōkai to try to get along with each other. In the interest of increasing their territory in this giant hunting ground, these yōkai killed and devoured each other. The school was a melting pot of chaos, not just for new students, but for yōkai too. She was one of the monsters born into this school. Her form was that of a Western doll. For many years, she had adorned the top of the medicine cabinet in the old school building's infirmary. She was moved to the infirmary in the new building, and there, among the chaos of the yōkai, she gained consciousness. She began to dance, alone in the infirmary at night, and she began to comprehend that she herself was a yōkai, and instinctively realized what she must do. As a yōkai, in order to live, she must prey on the souls of humans. And so, to make sure that her prey was not stolen from her, she fought against other yōkai. If one tried to monopolize this hunting ground, the monsters would kill each other out of mutual hatred. She, as a newborn, was no exception. If she found a more fearsome monster, she would be killed with no questions asked. In order for her to survive in this monster-infested school, she had to fight. Huh. And now I guess she's telling Marie her story, huh? Did Saku no Shin-chan get caught up in that too? Oh no, I wasn't expecting him to be here.
Not me. I'm not a school monster. My shrine and I have both been here for a long time. Before the school building, in fact.
Despite his youthful appearance, Saku no Shin had been one of the elders since long before this mammoth of a school was constructed. How nostalgic. It was such a chaotic time. Oh boy.
They were just a ragtag group of yōkai, all jam-packed into one place. Each of them trying to create a monopoly on the souls of the brats.
You were one of them too, you know.
You were too, you bastard!
It is rather nostalgic. It really was a chaotic melting pot. Together as a sisterly tag team, we took down many sly old yōkai one by one. You can't begin to imagine what it was like, Marie. My goodness, was it a bloody feud. It was quite a terrifying era.
Is that so? So you all are the ones who won and survived that era then?
Some of us, like Ren and I, watched idly from the sidelines. Oh, I don't remember what kind of voice I gave him.
Because it was dangerous, you know? I hid myself in the paintings. At that time, just managing to find a place to hide yourself was no simple task.
That's true. In a sense, it may have been more difficult to survive than just fighting for it. And then most of the yokai were weeded out, and a hierarchy gradually formed based on the differences in our powers. And the disordered children also regained their composure.
Those brats eventually compiled the 7 mysteries of their new school. And that's how a ranking system was established. It really is best for yokai to lie low and hide quietly.
I agree. Once you get old, that merciless chaos is something you'll never be able to face again.
You should be grateful for how lucky you are, Marie. If you were around back in that era, you would have been eaten up by another yokai in the blink of an eye. So there really was a time like that.
I had heard a few stories from Higanbana about a frightening time when it was survival of the fittest for the yokai here. She mentioned a large number of yokai killing and devouring each other. And the ones who survived that era and reigned as the school yokai is this group here. Good grief. They established themselves as the 7 mysteries of the school and created a 7-rank school yokai hierarchy. By doing so, they finally closed the curtain on that terrifying era of killing. Yeah, apart from Hamelin, who came and got killed by Higanbana, right?
Higanbana, who was terribly cruel and strong, was particularly feared among them.
Yes, Higanbana used to be an especially cruel yokai.
Right. In a way, she's mellowed out a lot since then, you know.
For those of us who remember how she used to be, even now it's hard to keep yourself from trembling with fear when she's standing in front of you.
Even for someone like me, whenever she furrows her brow, my heart can't help but skip a beat.
Marie, you said earlier that Higanbana was actually less cruel than she seems. Maybe the reason you're able to say that is because you don't know how she was back then.
Well, it's nothing to worry about. Just like how children grow up and become adults, it's inevitable that as yokai, we too will change with time.
Marie's presence might have chilled her out a bit too, you know.
Ho, maybe so. Marie-kun, please remain Higanbana's friend for all our sakes.
Yes. The once terrifying Higanbana has changed quite a bit now.
You. Even Higanbana's heart can't help but change and grow after meeting new people. In that sense, humans and yokai are alike.
All of the school yokai except Higanbana were packed in the principal's office having a tea party. These moon viewing parties required every one of them to attend, but it was rare for this many of the yokai to attend such a frivolous get-together. Despite the fact that they never attend meetings even when told to, somehow this many of them managed to gather for an arbitrary tea party. Apparently Higanbana wasn't the only one among them who had a dissenting opinion. The rest of the yokai took advantage of her absence and talked amongst themselves about the tale of Higanbana, a subject that Marie was very interested in. Higanbana would always boast about how she was the cruelest yokai of them all. But Marie didn't think she was quite as cruel as she would have everyone believe. Of course, this did not excuse the fact that Higanbana was at times capricious, rebellious, and altogether difficult to deal with. But somewhere down the line, she had calmed down a bit. Eventually, she made friends with Marie, and at the very least, became a less cold-blooded being, who was capable of teasing and laughing with a close friend. Marie was interested in Higanbana, interested in the past where she was truly the personification of cruelty that she claimed she was, and how she became how she is today. Marie was curious as to what it was that caused her to change. I mean, it could have been you, but we don't know. Let's find out. At that time, Higanbana was on the rooftop. She was perched on the edge, her long hair and skirt swaying in the wind, and staring blankly downwards. Beneath her, 2 people were walking. A student was leading a grown man by the hand, apparently giving him a tour of the school grounds. Wait, don't we know this guy? I feel like we know this guy. I think it was the guy in the second story. And this is the second school building. Oh, what's your step?
Ah, thank you. You saved me there, Nonomiya-kun.
Yeah, this was Nonomiya-kun. He was the guy in the second story. A name tag affixed to the person's chest indicated that they were a visitor to the school. At the very least, it was obvious that this man was neither a student nor a teacher of this school.
I remember the scene well. It's a place filled with memories for me. This image of the school is still burned into my retinas.
Are they fond memories?
I wonder. You know, in my time, bullying and violence were commonplace.
The man laughed. If only he knew. Considering the way he reacted, it seemed unlikely that his time spent at this school was very pleasant at all. However, a long time had passed since then. Even if he had been bullied, that pain had probably long since healed, and his memories of it faded away.
Back when I went here, I always loved coming back here behind the school. I always used to spend my break time here.
It is nice and cool back here, isn't it?
Yes, and not many people came back here. It was my favorite place.
The man was reminiscing while stroking the trunk of a tree. Over here? Okay.
I remember that I had wanted to be an artist when I grew up.
An artist?
Yeah, I remember the fun I had recording all my inspirations and emotions in a sketchbook. Every day I'd come here to get away from all the hustle and bustle and sketch whatever caught my eye.
It was a story from long ago. A story from when this building had just been built and was still being called the new school building. Oh boy. We're gonna have a memory. But from this guy, not from Higanbana. A mammoth school created through the integration of many small ones. Oh, so that's how it worked. It led to disorder and unrest among the students that now attended. And their unrest was brought into the world of the supernatural as well. Many confused souls were crowded together under one roof, and from this newly born chaos came a wave of small fry yōkai, all running rampant.
Man, this place is just packed with humans. Eat your fill, everyone. This school is huge. It's just crammed to the brim with all these little shit souls. Hey, piss off, you damn yōkai. All these souls are mine, you hear? Don't get in my way, I'm starving. Kill, kill, kill!
In the classroom, hallways, gymnasium, and schoolyard, countless yōkai and evil spirits swam about like giant schools of fish, all eating one another. This school was filled with the souls of children. Only the strongest yōkai survived to continue eating to their heart's content. The only way for them to avoid being a meal for another yōkai was to become stronger and faster than those around them. The children couldn't escape from the school, so eating them could wait. Instead, the first to get eaten were the yōkai who impeded the progress of others. A struggle for survival of the fittest spread out across the entire school. A battle where the only witnesses were those unearthly beings.
I'm the strongest. I'll kill all of you bastards that get in my way. Eat and get stronger! Eat and get stronger! Any weak yōkai around here? The stronger the yōkai we eat, the more spiritual power we store up.
I know these are all different ones, but nah.
If we attack in groups, even us weak yokai can win.
If the weaker yokai formed a giant group, even they held a startling amount of power. The undulating mass swept many classrooms, devouring the yokai trying to entrench themselves inside.
We're not worthless. When we've got the numbers, we're the strongest.
The staff room is already ours. Go to the next room! Go, go, go! Where do we go next?
The infirmary!
I heard that there's someone in there who's possessing a strange doll.
We'll consume them and gain their power!
Like a serpent, they wound out of the staff room and into the hallways before forming into a spiral and smashing through the infirmary door. Oh boy. The yokai of the infirmary, the dancing Higanbana, floated lazily in the air. As the mass of yokai circled around her, she looked as if she was still sound asleep.
Yahaha! She looks delicious. She's got so much spiritual energy. Consume the energy! Eat it, eat it, eat it! Are you scared, little dolly? Speak up! I can't hear your tiny little voice. Hey, shut up, everyone. Before we eat you up, let us hear your last words.
The maelstrom of monsters slowed to a halt and became as still as the eye of a storm. Finally, they were able to hear the words coming out of Higanbana's mouth.
Feed me.
Her facial expression didn't change. Her gaze was empty and her mind blank. It wasn't quite the expression you'd expect from someone contemplating their own death. The storm of monsters before her fluttered like the leaves of a tree being blown about by a whirlwind. Oh, so that's that noise.
All of you, feed me.
The Western doll danced gracefully. The fearsome yokai known as Higanbana settled in the infirmary. Before long, there wasn't a single yokai rampaging through the school that didn't know her name. If a strong yokai is consumed, the large amount of spiritual power they had would transfer to the one who ate them. So once a yokai's strength became well known, that only caused more yokai to come asking for a fight to the death. When she slew her enemies, Higanbana was neither happy nor sad. She only had one goal in life: to keep living. To do so, she had to gather more spiritual energy and become stronger than anyone else. That's why every day she would deceive and kill. Sometimes she would conceal her form and then either flee or sneak an attack on her opponent from behind. Every day her life could be defined by a single expression: kill or be killed. For the time being, she was alive. The fact that she was still alive meant that she had gathered enough spiritual power to survive. And that power just kept drawing more yokai to her like a beacon. If she ever carelessly allowed herself to be wounded, the weaker yokai would jump on the opportunity and swarm her. But if she gained too much strength, the stronger yokai would consider her too great a prey to overlook and swarm her. Higanbana was not still alive today because she had strength. It was the exact opposite. She had strength because she had survived until today. She knew that the only reason she was still alive was nothing more than good luck. There was no guarantee that she would survive either today or tomorrow. Just like she killed someone this day in order to live, she could easily be killed by someone else the next day. She lived every day on the verge of death, never showing anger, sadness, or least of all, happiness. All she did was keep killing to survive the day. She spent those days emotionlessly, like a carnivorous plant. Occasionally, there was a lull in the attacks. When that happened, she preferred to visit the rooftop. She let the strong wind blow her long hair as she stood emotionlessly like a solitary flower. She was alive today as well. When she was alive, she could think. She lived to live. Hurt or be hurt, kill or be killed. These days repeated endlessly, like a serpent swallowing its own tail. Ouroboros. How much longer must this continue? Higanbana no longer understood her own existence. No, that wasn't quite right, because that would imply that at one point she knew the reason for her existence. But she did not before and not now. There was only one thing of which she was certain. She didn't want to die. To keep living, she would hurt and be hurt, and moan in pain. She suffered every day just so she wouldn't die. Why was she here? She had no way of knowing. It was silent. No, it ain't. Listen to all that bloody wind. This dusk offered a small break from any yōkai coming to attack her. She cleared her head and took a short time to relax from the killing. This was perhaps the only way that she ever felt any minuscule amount of joy. Today had been a perilous day. She had been targeted relentlessly by the sisters Azami and Sumire and had almost been killed. She thought that they had been insignificant yet lesser yōkai, but they had been using bullying to eat the souls of so many children that without Higanbana noticing, they had gathered a formidable amount of spiritual power. If she wanted to survive, she had no choice but to become stronger. That was the single path to success in this survival of the fittest world of the supernatural. In order to live... Oh, no, I need to put a voice. In order to live, I must hunt. Before today, Higanbana had never hunted the souls of humans. All she had done to gain spirit energy before now was kill and eat the countless yōkai that attacked her. However, that was not enough. She had to hunt more actively and gain much more power. That was the only thing she could do to survive. Human prey. Anyone would be fine. Surely there'd be a suitable target somewhere. By chance, she happened to look down, and there behind the school building, there was a crowd of boys. Apparently they were hunting. Humans hunted too. A type of hunting where a large group would attack an individual, reaping their soul. It was called bullying. Once they were finished, they walked off and left their victim sitting there.
Leftovers, huh?
She had no idea who this boy was. She had just happened to look down and saw him there. But that was all the incentive she needed to start a hunt. Higanbana jumped from the rooftop and began to float gently down. The bullied boy had unsteadily stood up and was now squatting next to a tree. Then he opened an important-looking sketchbook and began running a pencil over one of its pages. Oh, our stories merge.
What a strange child.
Just a moment ago, he was being bullied. And then the very first thing he did after being let go was not to wipe away his tears or stamp his feet in anger, but to open his sketchbook. Higanbana gently landed in front of the boy. Yōkai are not visible to humans, save a few rare exceptions. So Higanbana was slightly taken aback when she noticed that his eyes were following her. Did you fall from the sky just now?
You can see me.
That was the first conversation that Higanbana ever had with a human. Who's talking?
What are you doing?
Sketching.
Sketching what?
The boy had been drawing pictures in his sketchbook for quite a while, but she had no idea what he was drawing. It looked as if he was drawing the leaves in front of him, but it lacked realism. The lines were fuzzy and greatly exaggerated, almost like an abstract painting. These are my feelings right now.
Feelings?
Yes, these are my feelings of frustration at having been bullied. She looked at his picture again, bearing this in mind, and somehow it made sense to her. She realized that he was drawing what this view behind the school looked like to him, when it was warped by his feelings of frustration.
Why are you doing that?
I'm putting all my negative emotions into the sketchbook and locking them away. When I transform them into pictures, they're no longer just emotions. They're proof of what happened to me today. She expected as much. It stood to reason that any human who could see her would be a little off compared to normal humans. But for some reason, Higanbana was very intrigued by what he had said.
What do you mean by proof of what happened?
In a nutshell, it's a record of my life. Like a diary, I guess.
Don't things with life continue living just so they won't die? What's the point in making a record of that?
Do you mean to say that staying alive is the only point to life?
Isn't it?
I don't know. That doesn't sound very fun. Not fun. The strange feeling that had tormented her day after day was just summed up in 2 words. That's right. I've never once considered living to have fun. I just lived because I didn't want to die. I never thought that I could obtain something from living.
Well, what do you consider to be fun in life?
Feelings, emotions. We feel so many of them every day, right? Quite honestly, I enjoy them. I make pictures of them in my sketchbook. Here, look. The boy flipped through some of the previous pages to show me what he had drawn in the past. Can you tell what I was feeling on this day? The light and lively lines suggest some sort of plentiful emotion. I was very happy on this day. Here, what about this one? Can you tell? These lines were thick and somewhat heavy. They gave a feeling of some sort of failure or regret. This was when I carelessly forgot about something I promised my friend. I felt like I'd failed him. Here, what about this one? There were some sketches drawn with rich lines that gave off a warm feeling, and there were sketches that reminded her of a desolate, bloodthirsty feeling. Sketches like a flash of lightning, and sketches like budding flowers on a gentle spring day. They were awfully vague for a diary. It would be very hard to guess what had happened on each of these days if you were just looking at the sketches without context. But they did portray emotions. If there was one thing you could gather from his sketches, it was what he was feeling at the time he drew them. So, with each page you turned in his sketchbook, various emotions would jump out of it like Pandora's box. It was a new and novel wonder to me. Emotions. I understand the concept. It's the color your heart takes on based on what happens around you. Color? Do the days that I spend doing nothing more than living actually have a color? I'm just living. My days aren't fun. I just live to keep living. I doubt they have a color at all. But this sketchbook was filled with emotions, and not just pleasant emotions. There were plenty of unpleasant ones too. All these emotions blended together to create a sort of harmony. Every time he turned a page, I was stunned. Each time a slew of emotions would sing out. Higanbana-san, you're a yōkai, right? What kind of emotions do yōkai feel during their lives? She couldn't think of an answer. She just lived to live. There was no emotion in that. In other words, when compared to the sketchbook, her own existence wasn't even worth the eraser shavings left over from a mistake. So for the first time, I thought about my pitiful existence. He watched me as I stood there silently, eyes cast down, and then he started to draw.
What are you doing?
I'm recording the surprise that I felt today from meeting a yōkai who lives at the school. Look, there, in his sketchbook, was me standing still in shock, drawn with lines full of surprise.
Who are you?
Just a human. My name is Shuichi Arimori. I'm not even going to pretend to be able to read that. Shuichi Arimori. Oh boy. The horror! Keep away from the infirmary! Keep away! A terrifying yōkai is living in there. Her name is the Dancing Higanbana. What is this, like a fucking street barker? A cruel yōkai if there ever was one. Then she must be packed to the brim with energy. If we consume her, it'll all be ours.
We'll eat you, Higanbana! Your legs, your arms, head, heart, and liver will tear them to pieces.
Do you know what? I really don't think Higanbana has got any sort of like internal organs as such. She's a doll. So she's probably just like a doll. Hollow.
Enter if you wish to die. Enter if you wish to dance. I, Higanbana, will grant your wish and play with you all you want.
Yeah. Well, who didn't expect any worse? I mean, those guys didn't even have sprites. Shredded skin, devoured flesh, spewed blood, removed guts, chewed remains. The lifeless, begrudging bodies of the yōkai splattered against the wall, their entrails torn out and blood trickling from them. Though disemboweled, they were not fully dead yet, and they cursed Higanbana with their last anguished moans. As a non-human would see it, the infirmary was filled with grotesque corpses. But even this room splattered with blood and innards didn't look red to Higanbana. It looked like nothing more than a dull and boring grey. Still, maybe the fact that she was able to realize that she was bored meant that she had changed a little. Things like moss and mold aren't aware of boredom. So, because she's aware of the tedium of her life, that indicates that Higanbana has grown beyond that sort of existence. Having just covered herself in the blood of evil river and mountain spirits, the rest of the groups of small fry would probably leave her alone for a while. Higanbana gracefully ascended to the rooftop and scanned the ground below. Seeing Shuichi's figure, she jumped gently down. She didn't find Shuichi's soul that appealing, but she had a feeling that there was something drawn within that sketchbook of his that could teach her something. Yeah, you're just lying to yourself, Higanbana. That day, Shuichi had been beaten by a group of male students. Because of Shuichi's pacifist tendencies, they would call him a punching bag and slam their fists into him day after day.
You were hit quite a bit today, huh?
She called out to Shuichi as he lay prone with his face in the ground, and he looked up slowly. Ah, Higanbana-san, hello. Even though he had just received an awful beating, he greeted her nonchalantly. Of course, he did feel frustrated about having been bullied. However, even that little flicker of emotion was still proof that he'd survived the day. As usual, he opened his precious sketchbook that he had kept safe from the bullies, and began recording his feelings. In order to express the emotions he had from dealing with such unreasonable bullying, this picture was filled with a sense of despair. It was by no means a happy experience for him, but he did this for every emotion he felt, so that if you were to mix the pages of the sketchbook together, it would look like a multicolored kaleidoscope. Higanbana shrugged her shoulders with both a sense of amazement and respect for his mental and emotional tenacity. How was your day today, Higanbana-san?
Like usual, I was attacked by a swarm of ill-tempered small fry yōkai. I was bitten, hindered, and cursed. Not one fun thing happened at all today.
It seems like I wasn't the only one who had a rough time today. Shuichi smiled. He smiled even though he didn't know how close to death she could have been, which she was a bit annoyed at. But it was also refreshing to have news of her survival be met with a smile. I see. So surviving is something to smile about. That's right. Just being alive may be reason enough to smile. After all, there are people all over the world living in poor countries with no food and dying of starvation. I had the privilege of saying good morning to my family with a smile and eating a delicious lunch and having a nice chat with you today. I'm really happy about all that stuff, so there should be more than enough of a reason to smile. She didn't want to agree with him, but yesterday and today, just by being alive, Shuichi was able to enjoy finding something to stir up emotions within him. And quite frankly, she was envious. Do you not have any of those feelings, Higanbana? Like happiness or sadness? Frustration or anger?
Feelings like those.
That day, Higanbana finally understood. She herself had no capacity for emotion. That was why she never felt them. Yesterday was like today. Today would be like tomorrow. Everything is the exact same shade of grey. If I could just understand the emotions he mentioned, maybe I can bring a new color into my everyday life. I wonder if I might be able to see things, like the way he sees the world in his sketchbook.
Emotions.
I lacked those. Even though I've devoured thousands of yōkai and swallowed their souls, without all that, I would just be a doll. I am Higanbana, a concept called Higanbana. Can a concept have emotions? I finally understood. I'm not yet a yōkai. I'm just a Western doll that eats souls. Once I'm able to feel emotions, that will be when I'll truly become my yōkai self. That's quite the journey of self-discovery that she's going on.
Ah, what a strange place to find you. Dancing Higanbana.
How unlucky. As Higanbana wandered down an odd hallway trying to hide from the swarms of smaller yōkai that sought her out, she happened across another yōkai, the Shinigami Izanami. He was an aggressive greater yōkai that had massive amounts of spirit energy. The two of them had once had approximately equal levels of strength, and thus they avoided fighting each other. But things have changed recently. Since she had started this vague search for emotions and stopped actively hunting, Izanami had started aggressively pursuing hunts more and more often, causing a rift between their once equal footing.
What? Do you want to fight?
If she showed fear, she would be eaten immediately. She couldn't afford to show him that her power was inferior. She had to pretend that they were still on the same footing. If she was in the infirmary, her nest that was ingrained with her own spiritual energy, then she could probably manage to drive him away. But in this frigid corridor, that would be impossible. She'd be torn to pieces before she could escape back to the infirmary. For the first time since she had started being called the Dancing Higanbana, she prepared herself for death. She felt a slow dropping sensation within her chest.
I was thinking it's about time we settled things between us. How about it? Shall we do it right here, right now?
Izanami is one of the strongest greater yōkai in all the school. He was currently contending for the top position of headmaster. If he was trying to amass enough spiritual power to contend for the spot of headmaster, then he would be quick to target filling prey such as herself. Given Izanami's personality, if she let him notice even the slightest chink in her armor, there's no doubt that he would start a fight with her, right here, right now. I would like to avoid that. If I were to enter a fight with Izanami, there's a 10-to-1 probability that I'd be killed. Even if by some miracle I were to win, I'd be gravely wounded in the process. A severely weakened Higanbana would be too delectable a snack for the small fry yōkai to pass up. Whether I win or lose, neither leaves any possibility of survival. My heart trembled at the foreboding of death. I don't want to die. Fear of death is the one thing that all living beings must feel. My heart was pounding like an alarm bell, and the blood felt like it was swirling around like a cold soup. This was the first time that I had ever broken into a sweat this cold. I was lucky enough to have been the stronger one in my fights up until this point. So having never faced a life or death situation this bad before, I've never felt this apprehension from being on the verge of death. And today, for the first time, I understood. I understood the facial expression that the smaller yōkai made the moment I tore them to pieces. If I let down my guard even the slightest bit, I'm sure my face would show that very same expression. I want to live. I don't want to die. Isn't there some way I can avoid death? Something, anything. If I let my guard down, I will die. If I make a mistake, I will die. Why do I not want to die? Because I want to live. Why do I want to live? I don't know. But I feel like Shuichi would be able to teach me that. If I give it my all, I can survive. I can meet with Shuichi again. I heard a thud. It was the sound of the heavy gears in my heart beginning to rotate for the first time. I like that. So did you get away safely?
If I didn't, I wouldn't be here telling you about it.
Stupid question. Shuichi laughed lightly at my near-death experience and continued to draw in his sketchbook. And? How did you feel right now? Oh,
Feel?
you were able to get away from a great yokai unharmed today. How do you feel about that, Higanbana? You thought you were going to be killed, right? You made a plan and gave it your all, and it went well, right? How did you feel then? When I encountered Izanami, I prepared myself for death. I wonder if it would be right to call the thumping and pounding in my heart at that time an emotion. Yeah, fear is an emotion. And after I narrowly escaped with my life, and when I finally made it back to the infirmary, I took a deep, deep sigh of relief. Would that be considered an emotion? Yes!
I don't really know.
Today, I'm sure that I felt a different colour today than the same old grey that I've been seeing for so long. It was still a shade of grey, but up until yesterday it was boring and cloudy grey. Today it was different, like a sharp silver, like a razor blade. So sharp that if you touched it, it would slice your fingers open. That's it. It wasn't grey, it was silver. Like, oh wow, that was dangerous. Or, I'm glad I got out of there alright. I think it'd be nice if you could enjoy those feelings much more.
Enjoying the feeling of danger.
No, not quite. More like enjoying that you made it out safely. I'm sure that you're beginning to understand that feeling. And this is proof of that. Here, look. Shuichi turned his sketchbook around to show her what he had just been sketching. There on the page was Higanbana's face.
Me?
Yep. I think that your expression is different from usual today, Higanbana-san.
How so?
I think you're smiling.
Smiling?
She didn't think that she had been smiling. But in the picture Shuichi drew of her in his sketchbook, she was definitely shown smiling. You successfully outsmarted a great yokai and managed to get away, so you must have been happy about that. And you must be relieved about averting a crisis and being able to go about your day normally. I think that those feelings are naturally giving you a much more lively expression than usual. Isn't that great? You're able to make it to the end of today safely. Now that you've overcome hardships, how does the sunset of the day you survived look right now?
It looks the same as always, I think.
No way. Try looking harder. I'm sure that the colours of this sunset look much more vibrant than yesterday's. It was as Shuichi said. The colours of this sunset were more vibrant than I had ever seen before. Once I admitted that, I felt a strange sensation in my heart. If the feelings within a heart could be measured by some physical metric, then it would have only been the size of a clenched fist, albeit rapidly expanding with a sense of liberation. It was a feeling almost like the small confines of my heart was suddenly becoming much, much larger than my entire body. And for the first time, I heard a voice coming from within my heart.
You can't be too careful around those smaller yokai. Honestly, I despise them. Nevertheless, today was dangerous. I thought Izanami was going to kill me. But he sure was an idiot, that Izanami. To think that he'd believe that liar told him. Such an idiot. Lots of things happened, but somehow I survived today. Somehow.
Are these what are called emotions? I don't know. But if I likened my feelings to colours, they were decidedly not grey. Various colours mixed and blended, and though I didn't completely understand, it was undoubtedly a complex hue.
Is this vibrant sunset that I see the same one that you can see?
Of course. That's because the more you enjoy the emotions you have, the more vivid the colours you see become.
So that's the key to enjoying life.
Well, that's the first step, I guess.
Does that mean that you're finding ever more enjoyment in your life, Shuichi?
Yep. Higanbana, you have finally figured out the happiness of safely surviving a day. I'm a bit beyond that. I enjoy looking forward to the future.
The future?
When I grow up, I want to become an artist. That's my dream.
Dream.
I enjoy looking forward to that day, and I really enjoy imagining what it will be like. The more days I spend working towards my dream, the more enjoyment I'm having, and that's when I feel like I'm truly alive. I didn't understand what Shuichi was saying right now, but if I could just figure out how to grasp what he was saying, even a little bit, I'm sure that I could figure out how to enjoy life. I had no doubt of that. Right now, I'm just trying to survive with all my might, so my head is filled with only thoughts about that. Someday, I'll be able to understand. I'm sure I'll be able to grasp it. If I keep spending my days together with Shuichi, I'm sure I'll be able to do it someday. Just then, a voice suddenly called out from behind them. Oh. Hey? You're here again? When they turned to look, there stood a trio of boys. Higanbana recognized them. They were the lot that were always persistently bullying Shuichi. You're our punching bag, so don't walk around without permission, okay? Your job is to take punches from us when we're pissed, got it? Don't try to skimp out on us here. Or were you just out here skulking because we weren't paying attention to you? How bad, we'll be sure to play with you a lot today. The boys laughed crossly. That laughter caused Shuichi's entire body to go rigid.
Just judging by their faces, it looks like all three of them are pretty slow in the head.
So you can tell.
Anyone who isn't blind could tell that. Why don't you run away?
They'd catch me. Besides, if I'd ran, I'd just make them angry and they'd beat me that much more.
So you're thinking things out in the long term. Isn't this bullying causing you to suffer?
It is tough, but it's not like they're going to kill me. You never know, man. There are some bullies that end up killing some victims. They just roughed me up a little. Perhaps it was the influence of his older brothers, who were already adults, but Shuichi was a very adult-like boy, who would carefully base his choices on the long-term consequences. But that difference may have been what caught the eye of these bullies. The trio of boys circled Shuichi and started shoving him around. Shuichi laughed awkwardly and asked them to stop.
Just resist them.
That would be pouring oil on the fire. If I just let them have their way, they'll get tired of it sooner or later. Shuichi showed Higanbana a pathetically forced smile. When she saw that, for the first time, Higanbana knew what it felt like to have an ache in her heart. Alright, don't pass this line when you're front. Hey, can I go first? You're in the baseball club, so you've got to handicap yourself. Throw with your left hand. Hey, you're just trying to keep me from showing off my golden right-armed pitch. After threatening Shuichi not to move a step, but the bullies took a dozen steps back and started to pick up rocks off the ground. It was obvious what they were planning to do. The rocks were a little too large to be called pebbles. If one of them were to hit him in the wrong place, he might not be getting away with just a few scratches. But Shuichi was ordered not to move at all. Shuichi shut his eyes tightly and braced for the oncoming pain. Just as one of the bullies was winding his arm back in preparation for a throw, Higanbana glared intently at the stone he held. And suddenly the stone slipped out of his hand and flew far above his head. What the? Haha, you idiot! Where were you aiming? No, I didn't do anything. Hey, how far is that rock gonna go? The stone, which had flown straight up, was now floating still mid-air. There was nothing that could have been holding the rock in the air like that. The bullies just looked up at it, stunned. And then, like a wasp dancing through the sky, the stone started to make figure eights in the sky. Then the stone swooped down, like a wasp ready to sting, and the bullies jumped in surprise. With a buzz, it flew towards the boy who had tried to throw it, and aimed directly at his head. Just like where that boy was aiming to hit Shuichi. Watch out! Screaming that, Shuichi threw himself at the boy. He wrapped his arms around the boy and tackled him to the ground. Missing its target, the stone smashed into the ground and broke into tiny pieces.
Shuichi, why?
Why did Shuichi protect him? Higanbana couldn't understand. They were his enemies. So then, why? For a short while after they hit the ground, the boy kept his eyes on the pieces of the broken rock in a daze. But then he suddenly came to his senses and realized that Shuichi was still lying on top of him, and the boy pushed him off with all his might. The boy rattled off insults as he stood up and brushed the dirt off his body and started kicking Shuichi's legs with the tip of his shoes. Shuichi cowered with a grimace on his face. This made my entire body stand on end. Involuntarily, my right arm raised, and my sharp claws grew. I'll tear that mangy soul directly from his body, right here, right now. Just at that moment, Shuichi, still face down in the dirt, spoke in a groan. Don't do it, Higanbana-san. It was a quiet voice that could barely be heard. But Higanbana undoubtedly heard it, because her arm stopped. The boy who Shuichi had just saved continued kicking him on the ground, face bright red. Apparently, he thought that as he was trying to show off with his throw, he ended up throwing a wild pitch that went straight up. And furthermore, he had been frightened as the rock came back down at him. It seemed that this had been something supremely embarrassing for the boy. So he kept kicking Shuichi to gloss over the fact. But the other two bullies weren't so oblivious. No matter how you throw it, there's no way a stone should be able to fly through the air like that. Those two boys were no longer interested in bullying, and instead were chilled to the bone and looking at the pieces of the smashed stone. Hey, let's get out of here. This is kind of creepy. Yeah. Let's go. Those were the bullies' honest feelings. After putting in one last kick, the bullies took off, leaving Shuichi crouching on the ground.
Why did he protect him?
Because if that had hit him, it looked like it would have hurt.
But weren't they trying to use that rock to hurt you first?
I guess so. Shuichi stood up, dusting off his clothes.
Shuichi, why are you always so concerned with the consequences of things?
It's not like I really mean to be.
Those guys may be the same age as you, yet they don't think like you do at all. It's almost like you're not even human.
What an awful thing to say. I'm a human, and I'm trying my best to be one.
But surely, the way you look at things is different than that boorish lot.
Probably, I guess. I understood clearly. Shuichi probably saw things differently than the average human being. That is why he is able to see supernatural beings such as myself, and why he can see a sunset more vibrantly beautiful than anyone else.
I feel like you must be able to see things that other humans cannot, Shuichi. And what you see is so beautiful that you can't be bothered by the petty squabbles of your fellow man.
In the same way that some people are born with wavelengths closer to the supernatural world, maybe there were some people who are born with something non-human about them. Shuichi could be said to have mystic eyes. With those eyes, he was able to perceive emotions as manifestations of beauty. Because they were so beautiful and vivid, he didn't want to forget how moving they were, so he recorded them in his sketchbook.
Those pictures you sketch, they're not abstract art, are they?
No. I just draw things as I see them. I realized back when I was in kindergarten, I see a different world than other people. I told my family about it. They were very surprised, and my father told me that these eyes must be a gift from the gods, and that I should draw pictures of the world as I see it. Shuichi was aware that his perception of the world unseen by others changed based on the swaying of his emotions, and he remembered how it looked by drawing pictures of them. That way, whenever he looked back through his sketchbook, he could recall the emotions of those times. If he improved his art, then he may be able to share his emotions with others. Back then, I wondered,
maybe this is my calling.
No, sorry, this is him. Back then I wondered, maybe this is my calling. I can see feelings. If I make them into pictures and show them to a lot of people, maybe they can feel them as well. In other words, if I draw a happy picture,
I wonder if I can make a lot of people happy. On the night that I pondered those thoughts, I was so excited that I couldn't sleep. I don't know why the gods gave me eyes like these, but I think that this must be my mission in life. So every day, I'll keep drawing every emotion that I see and keep practicing. I'll repeatedly express my feelings through my pictures and practice to become more skilled. So I vow to never go a day without drawing a picture of these countless emotions, uncategorizable in terms of normal human emotions. Higanbana thought to herself, if angels really exist, then he must be one of them. An angel sent from heaven, reincarnated in the form of a boy. For what purpose? To teach people how to feel a wider variety of feelings? I can attest to that, because he even managed to show me what emotions are. Thanks for trying to save me earlier.
It was just on a whim.
When they were bullying me, that made you feel angry, right?
Angry?
That's the name of the emotion you get when your heart tightens up and creeps up to your throat. Really? For me, it feels like a burning inferno. I'm not sure if I feel... Well, my heart beats fast, I suppose. At the root of the feeling of anger was a desire to help me, right? I could see that. It makes me happy. So even though I was bullied a little bit, it wasn't painful at all. First floor of the school building. An establishing shot. The tea ceremony room in the far back. As a policy of respecting the individuality of students, this school put extra attention into the providing of extracurricular activities. I mean, don't many schools in Japan have a lot of extracurricular activities? And thus there were many of these rooms specifically for club activities that you wouldn't find in a normal school. Oh, okay. But in this particular tea ceremony room, amongst a solemnly silent atmosphere, sat a group of students that seemed altogether out of place. They were the trio of boys who had relentlessly bullied Shuichi. Oh, they've come in to have some tea, have they?
What was that back then? You're always so nervous. It was just a strong breeze, that's all. Ah, just the wind.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Obviously. What else could it be? Stupid.
Oh, fucking hell. Damn it. Just then, the opening of the sliding screen door could be heard, and one girl stood in the doorway. That girl was not human, but to them she appeared to be one of their human classmates. How did it go? Did you guys get revenge for me, Reiko, today? The true identity of this girl named Reiko Osumi is Sumire of the Twilight. She had infiltrated Shuichi's class.
Of course we did, Reiko-chan. Right, guys? Yeah, we beat him even harder than yesterday. That bastard Shuichi serves him right.
Yeah, but I'm worried. Even though you punished him for me yesterday, this morning my school shoes were missing again.
Ah, really?
Yes. They weren't in the shoe rack, so I looked around for them, but to no avail. Then I saw Shuichi-kun as he was throwing them into the incinerator. Of course, this was a fabrication on Sumire's part. Sumire was using bullying as a form of hunting. She would use her lies to instigate bullying under the pretext of giving the boys a just cause. Her devil's tears allowed her to do so.
Seriously? He did it again!
What's more, Shuichi-kun was staring at me all day today during class and gym. It's making me kinda scared.
That damn pervert! He hasn't learned anything at all!
And then, I want to believe that wasn't him. But recently my gym clothes and swimsuit and stuff have all got missing. I'm scared.
Acting frightened, Sumire shed her devil's tears. Those tears had the power to give people a taste of what it's like to bully, and even birth new bullies. Yeah, I remember this from the Utopia storyline.
That bastard Shuichi! I'm never gonna forgive him. It's okay, Reiko-chan. Tomorrow, we'll really teach him a lesson. This time we'll beat him to a pulp. I don't even care if we'll kill him while we're at it.
Thanks. You guys are the only ones I can depend on.
Yeah, leave it to us. That's right. We'll even go as far as to break one of his arms.
Oh, wow. To make sure he never bothers you again, Reiko-chan.
But I'm scared. If Shuichi-kun finds out that you've been doing all of this for me, he might just bully me even more.
Don't worry.
Just like before, we'll make sure to keep that a secret from Shuichi and everyone else. Yeah. It doesn't matter if we don't tell him. This isn't bullying, it's divine punishment. Don't you think that if he's picking on you that much, it deserves divine punishment?
I think that Shuichi just wants to become a person that understands people's feelings like you guys.
Man, Reika-chan, you're too kind. Most people don't even try to sympathize with their bully.
That's what makes you great, Reika-chan.
And that's why we'll protect you. Yeah.
Thanks, you guys. Alright, I'll be relying on you tomorrow then.
I know. Fucking Sumire is so fucking heinous. I swear. Let's have a drink. As twilight approached, the sky turned from orange to violet and displayed a beautiful gradient of colors. Higanbana was on the rooftop.
Oh, if it isn't Higanbana-kun. I'm not interrupting anything, am I?
If you were, I'd be tearing you apart without hesitation right now.
Fuck. This yokai taking the form of a portly gentleman was known only as the headmaster. He's a greater yokai, and as his name suggests, is generally accepted as presiding over all the other yokai within the school. A great battle had once unfolded between him and Higanbana, but his desire to fight her had faded, and the two of them no longer crossed swords.
Hey, headmaster.
What is it?
Why do we exist, us yokai?
Who can say? There is one thing that's for sure, though.
What's that?
Fuck me, I'm starting to lose it.
If humans didn't exist, then we yokai wouldn't either.
Meaning we're just another part of humanity.
You could say that. Or maybe we are of humanity's shadow. It's because of the existence of humans that we are able to live in their shadows.
In other words, us yokai are just parasites to humanity.
Wow, I'm really losing it. I can't even do a voice anymore. Is that really what you think of yourself as?
But aren't we? We survive by latching onto humans and picking away at the scraps of their souls. If we're not parasites, then what are we?
If that's what you think, then isn't that what we are?
I guess.
Parasites don't need feelings. They just repeat their daily routines, living for the sake of living. But as those days passed, I felt a dull agony. In that case, I must not be a parasite. Who am I? I'm a yokai. Then what is a yokai really?
I have found my own answer to that question, but don't think that I'd try to impose my opinion on you.
So stingy.
Ho ho ho, you're still a young yokai though. Take some time to think about it. I'm sure that it will benefit you.
Hey, headmaster. Do you have them? Emotions, I mean.
He's just started laughing. That's an emotion, even if he's faking it.
Emotions, I mean.
I do.
Do you enjoy them?
Of course.
Are they something that you need to have?
I'm not sure, but there is one thing I can say for certain.
Oh.
Emotions are a crucial aspect of humanity.
But what about us yokai?
If yokai are the shadows of humans, would it really be that strange for us to have emotions too?
Good point.
You are a very powerful yokai, but you are young. Fortunately, you have more spiritual power than most other yokai can shake a stick at. So now, I think you should make some time for a little introspection.
How I should be? And what I should do?
Ho 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 ho! Take some time to think about it.
Yeah, I'll do that.
The disorder in this school has been spreading too. Go look at the students in the halls. They're confused, scared, and their hearts are being ruled by evil.
They can't keep the peace unless unless they are constantly looking down on and hurting others.
Horrible little brats.
Humans are beings that live in the sunlight. They must not set foot into the evil darkness. So there must be something that inhabits their darkness. I believe that is the role the yōkai play.
That's your interpretation then.
Don't think that I'm pushing it on you.
The way that these children look down on others is really cruel.
I am starting to lose it now. It's especially cruel within these schools. The order and laws of human society do not reach within these walls. The police do not investigate disputes here. Instead, everyone taking part in a fight is considered at fault.
But no one's really concerned with who started it.
Once again, I felt that nauseating feeling spread throughout my insides, the same way it did when those boys tried to hit Shuichi with that rock. Why do I exist? Why should I exist? For some reason, I feel like he's the one who holds the key to that answer. Shuichi. When I'm talking to him, I feel like I can find that key. Oh, fuck.
It seems like it's been quite hectic today.
What's that? An ambulance?
The characteristic siren stopped outside the school gate.
It seems that someone has been injured. Is something the matter?
It was fun talking with you. But next time we meet, let's fight to the death. See you.
Whoa. With a hurried farewell, she jumped from the rooftop. She landed gently on the ground and pushed her way through the crowd of people. She had a bad feeling about this, and so do I. Ooh, it seems that Shuichi had been found in the gymnastics storeroom in a bizarre condition. At first, the kid that found him thought someone had just been messing around. Why else would Shuichi's head be covered with a paper bag? However, the bag was drenched in blood. Watch it! Stretcher coming through! What's going on? What happened to him? It looks like bullying. Mama.
Shuichi! Shuichi!
She called out to Shuichi as he was taken away on the stretcher, but he didn't seem to be conscious. And even Higanbana, who was a yōkai, was at a loss for words at the gruesome sight of Shuichi's face. She could tell that it was Shuichi because of the clothes he wore, but no one would have been able to tell that by looking at his face. His face was so swollen and bloodstained that she couldn't even make out where his cheeks, nose, or mouth were. Shuichi never put up a fight, so the bullying must have escalated to no end. Starting to get pissed off again. Bullying? This can't just be called bullying anymore. This wasn't even assault. This was savagery. To humans, this was an inexcusable act. But in this alternative universe known as school, this was regrettably forgiven. School was a sanctuary, and therefore exempt from the laws of the outside world. Teachers here smothered and covered up all signs of bullying. This was the orderless and chaotic world of school. Standing apart from the crowd, a group of 3 students were watching the commotion and giggling. It was the trio that had been bullying Shuichi. What? Just an ambulance? A hearse would have been better. Maybe he'll die in the hospital. We brought down the iron hammer of justice upon him. And nobody saw us do it. Even if someone did, we'd just be judged not guilty because of juvenile law. School was a sanctuary. Children were protected here, protected from victimization and from discipline. The laws and common sense of the general public didn't reach here. It was simply an unjust jungle in which the smaller passive animals were eaten by the carnivores. That's just how things were. Shuichi had been rushed to hospital and received treatment in the intensive care unit. Fortunately, he was able to survive the most intensive part of his hospitalization, but his condition was still critical. Higanbana appeared silently at his bedside.
Shuichi?
That voice, is that you, Higanbana-san?
Yeah.
I thought that skilled yokai couldn't leave the school.
We live in the school. We can leave it, but it makes us uncomfortable and requires a lot of spirit energy. It's very tiring.
Yet you came all this way. Thank you for coming to see me.
After going through such suffering, do you still enjoy having emotions? Do you still see this horrible state of affairs as proof that you're alive?
I was being somewhat sarcastic. Usually Shuichi would shrug it off and laugh a little. I waited for his usual response, but he didn't answer at all. It was only natural. After all, what could he say in this situation? Naturally, Higanbana too was at a loss for words.
It's not like you're going to die. You'll have to take it easy for a while, but in a few months you'll be back to normal.
Oh, I'm not sure about that. They said they'll never be back to normal.
What won't?
My eyes.
Your eyes?
I can't see anymore. With those words, Higanbana was once again speechless. She understood now. He had lost that power in his eyes which enabled him to see things other people couldn't. They were ruptured. Both eyes. How mercilessly had he been treated? A part of his skull had also been cracked. It was a miracle that he didn't have some sort of brain damage. The doctor said that I won't see anything ever again. It's frustrating. There were so many more emotions I wanted to have, and so many more things I wanted to see.
It's not like you lost your arms, right? You can still open your sketchbook and hold a pencil.
But I can't see anymore. I'm blind. I can no longer see the scenery that constantly changing through countless emotions like a kaleidoscope. I can't show people what I see through drawing anymore. I can no longer become an artist. Shuichi could no longer keep the painful memories from leaking out from his heart. His eyes were not the only thing of his that was destroyed. The sketchbook which he'd used to document all his feelings had been stolen and thrown into the incinerator. Every record he'd made of the world he saw had been destroyed. The proof that he'd lived had been stolen from him. That proof that he had lived was his life itself. He had been killed.
Hey, Shuichi,
What is it?
your eyes and even your dreams are now crushed, right?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, can you still say that you enjoy your emotions? Hey, answer me.
Shuichi never did answer. Higanbana finally realized. His ability to communicate with yōkai was due to his eyes. He had lost them, so it was only natural that she couldn't speak to him anymore. The final question that Higanbana wanted answered the most would go forever unanswered. And for the first time, Higanbana felt like she understood the words of the headmaster. Yōkai are the shadows of humans. If there is day, then there must be night. Humans rule the day, while yōkai rule the night. As a human, he deserved to live in the daylight, and those who deserve to live in the dark of night must also govern it, so that those who are human never make the mistake of entering the dark.
Shuichi, I finally understand. Thank you.
Of course, Shuichi didn't reply. He would never hear nor respond to Higanbana's voice again. Higanbana's figure gently disappeared and departed from the hospital. It was a dark, moonless night in an inorganic town, with the humans just barely fending off the darkness with feeble man-made lights. Humans never went out on nights as dark as these. That was because humans walk under the sun and not the cover of nightfall. The same held true for school, and for the school yōkai as well. Oh boy. Higanbana laughed. For the very first time, she laughed. She leapt from telephone to telephone pole, galloping towards the school, all the while laughing in a voice no one could hear.
I finally understand. Finally. And I owe it all to you, Shuichi. Thanks to you, I can finally understand.
I know what I need to do. I know why we yōkai exist.
Higanbana flew towards the gigantic school on the horizon.
Hey, at night there are no humans at the school. Why is that? It's because at night we are the ones that rule the school. The school belongs to us at night. No human must ever trespass on our domain. We will judge those foolish enough to invade our sacred night. We will dye the night even darker, because that's the role we play.
What the? Oh my god. A strange sound was coming from somewhere. It sounded near and far, and right beside his ears. In an attempt to go back to sleep, he turned over in bed. Yes, he had finally gone to sleep, and being woken was irritating. He was one of the 3 boys who had inflicted serious injury on Shuichi. He was still worked up from what had happened in the storeroom today, and was having trouble sleeping. Yeah, fuck you, kid! Even the boy knew. Normally this would be a crime, but the school is a sanctuary. Nobody can blame him. Teachers, out of fear of being victims of circumstance, would cover everything up. Hopefully he'll die in the hospital. Then the whole matter would blow over unsettled. But even so, beating up Shuichi was so much fun. Ah, fuck you. First, each kick gave him a wonderful sense of fulfillment. Second, each punch gave him satisfaction. They inflicted a whole range of violent acts against their passive enemy. That was so much fun. They were originally just doing this for the girl in their class, but not anymore. They're going to make everyone they hate look just like Shuichi did. We're free. In school, we're free. We can't be bound by anyone. We can't be blamed by anyone. Man, fuck you fucking kids, I swear. Fucking hate kids. He could still hear that sound. It was grating his ears. What is that? What is making that sound? It was like footsteps, but they were neither approaching nor growing more distant. It was almost like someone was pacing around the same place over and over again. When he came to his senses and opened his eyes to try and ascertain the cause of the sound, something immediately felt very wrong. What the? I can't move my body. Even though he could open his eyes, it was as though his whole body had been bound by chains, and he couldn't move an inch. Ah, I love sleep paralysis. No, don't. And that wasn't all. The ceiling was different. Where is this place? This isn't my room or my bed. Now that he thought about it, his futon was too hard. It wasn't the same bed that he crawled into every night. Where is this? What the?
Are you awake?
With that voice, someone entered the boy's field of vision. A figure peering down on him as he lay on the bed. It looked like a pretty girl with beautifully long black hair. Her chillingly white skin contrasted with her jet black hair. Her red lips shone alluringly. She was so beautiful it was captivating. Where am I?
This is my nest.
Nest?
I wonder if you've never been to the infirmary before. Ah, that's right. I guess just because you hurt others doesn't mean you get hurt yourself.
Little by little, he could begin to smell the stench of dust and medicinal chemicals as they stabbed at his nostrils. What was the meaning of this? No way. This was probably the bed in the school infirmary. That makes no sense. He was sure that he'd gone home, eaten dinner, taken a bath, and crawled into his own bed. So then, why was he here? He could only catch a glimpse of the hallway outside the door, but this was unmistakably the infirmary. Were the windows open? The white curtains were slowly fluttering, like a Halloween ghost. He could feel a breeze, but it was warm and stagnant. Even worse, it felt wet and sticky. He was sure that this was reality, but he felt as if he'd been dragged into someone's nightmare.
That's right. I invited you. The dancing Higanbana has invited you to her nest, because she wants to dance with you.
Yes, he was pretty sure he had heard a rumor about an odd Western doll in the infirmary, who dances every night. But why was she cursing him? He had never once set foot inside the infirmary.
Because you have forgotten to be respectful.
Respectful of what?
Respectful for the dark of the night. You are a being that should live in the light, and yet you set foot into the wickedness of night. The law of the human world may let you off easy, but as ruler of the night, I won't forgive you so easily.
The boy's eyes had gradually gotten used to the dim light, but when they did, he realized that the girl's hair wasn't just beautiful, it was horrifyingly long. Her hair reached down to her feet and then grew off in all directions. It was strung around the room like a spider web. Oh, this is like a scene from The Grudge or something. His eyes followed where her hair led and traced it to the neighboring bed. However, there was a curtain between the two beds, so he had no idea what was going on behind it. Oh boy. The strange sound that he had been hearing all this time was coming from just beyond the curtain that the hair draped over.
Are you curious? Wondering what this sound is? Fine then, I'll show you.
Higanbana twisted the boy's paralyzed face towards where the sound was coming from. Then she drew back the curtain and showed him the scene unfolding behind it. Yeah, what the fuck indeed. There were his friends. Yes, the boys who had relentlessly bullied Shuichi. But their bodies were far too bizarre. They were hanging above the bed, their limbs strung up by her bundles of hair. They looked like puppets. Their wrists, ankles, and necks were tightly bound. Pit-pat, pit-pat. And they were being forced to dance. They had soulless eyes and were foaming at the mouths, having been reduced to living puppets. The source of the odd tapping sound was now clear. It was the sound of them being forced to dance endlessly.
Go ahead, why don't you dance with them? Don't worry, if you've never danced before, I'll teach you how.
Oh yeah, that sound effect. Countless wriggling strands of hair wound around the boy and strung him up like a puppet. Stop it! Nah! This ain't real! This is a dream, a nightmare!
Exactly. For a normal human to meet one of us, you'd have to be dreaming. Or otherwise within the darkness. But you were the ones who stepped into our territory, right? You placed your dirty feet into the darkness of night without even a hint of respect.
The darkness of the night had to be even darker. If not, humans would too easily walk right into it. It's the yōkai's duty to scare humans away by dyeing the darkness an even darker black. Common sense and laws did not reach as far as this abnormal world known as school. The only ones able to judge them in this world were the yōkai. Pit-pat, 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 son.
You guys are so bad at dancing. It's strange. When I watch you, I just can't stop laughing.
Outside the window, there was a bright red moon floating in the sky, the likes of which would never be seen in the world of humans. Higanbana turned her eyes upwards toward that moon and laughed from the bottom of her heart. Ah, I get it, Shuichi. These are what you call emotions. This is what you call proof of living. Thanks to you, I can finally live.
I am the dancing Higanbana. As a yōkai of the school, I will dye the night an even darker shade of black, so that humans will fear the dark, so that they'll never set foot within it. Now, you three, dance along with the dancing Higanbana. When you tire of dancing, ask your friends to bite off your throat. If you're going to tire, do it quickly. The last one of you won't be killed. Instead, you will get to dance together with me forever.
Ah, well, there we are. That's a new one. I don't think we've seen this one before. There in the infirmary, bathed in the moon's mystical blood-red light, will forever dance the first victims of the dancing Higanbana. That's interesting. We've seen Higanbana hunt in various ways. Ah, so that's what happened.
For a while, I thought about dying. After all, the world had become pitch black to me. But then I realized, you don't need eyes to experience emotions. You feel them with your heart. Even if you can't see, you can still have emotions. And I still have my ears.
So that's why you became a pianist. After being discharged from the hospital, Shuichi Arimori went to a school for the blind, where he started to study music. He learned that his rare ability to feel emotions in a colourful way was not limited only to his eyes.
Now I draw my emotions with music. The world isn't grey, it's full of a whole wide range of emotions. Even if you feel the same emotion twice, there's an endless amount of brilliance you can gather from them. I know that, and I want to tell it to everyone. It was hard for me at first after losing my eyesight, but nothing will get in my way of carrying out the mission given to me by the gods. That's what I think.
Shuichi Arimori, the blind pianist. With his piano, even when playing the same song twice, his music would always portray an endlessly changing variety of sounds, like a kaleidoscope. As a graduate of the school, he was invited to give a speech to the students in the gymnasium.
My story is not one of eyes or ears. It is a story of feelings. The world itself is grey. It's the emotions in our hearts that give the world its beautiful colours. Whatever the feeling, you should enjoy them. And that is proof that you're alive. That's what I think. And that's what I want to be made clear to you kids.
You have. I think that your story is a very important one to tell.
Is that so? Well, thank you then. By the way, isn't it about time we went?
Ah, yeah. Okay, I'll show you to the staff room. Having been sitting under a shade of the tree, Shuichi slowly stood up, brushing the dust off himself. Then he paused and rose his head up towards the top of the school building. With eyes he should not be able to see out of, he looked up at Higanbana sitting on the railing of the rooftop. It's been a long time. How did things go? Are you enjoying having emotions? Yes, all thanks to you. I see so many fun and interesting things that I'm never bored. Shuichi drew his outstretched hand back and left. Higanbana watched him as he walked away.
When the nighttime is darker, the sun glows ever brighter. It becomes so much more beautiful.
Higanbana gently faded away. Oh, this is it. These are the credits. Ah, man, that was a fairly good story. Well, a little bit on the basic side, but it was a backstory for Higanbana, so I'll allow it. Oh, the school nurse who didn't do anything in the end. Oh, we got some newly added content. Let's have a quick look through. After school! Oh, this will be like a tea party sort of thing. It'll be like an Imineko. It'll be an epilogue. Let's do it! Epilogue. I don't know how long this will be. I am Kyo, 5th ranked of the school yōkai, guardian that governs the border of the other world. Well then, would you like to play with the border between dreams and reality this evening as well? Oh, always. If you are here, then that means that you too float on this boundary between worlds just as I do. That makes us companions. Is that not what people who travel together are called? This is the boundary world between dreams and reality. Well, in layman's terms, this is a daydream. It is a world of waking dreams. Most of the time, you can only find trivial interactions taking place in here. But it's just interesting enough to kill some time every now and again. Oh, what's this? Right away, it seems that we found something interesting going on. Right then, well, let's take a look then. First, let me say this. Oh, who said this? You're a failure as a teacher. Oh, what? I sure as hell don't want to hear that from you, Kanamori-sensei. It seems that these two failures of teachers were having a verbal dispute of some sort. Oh god, it's her.
First of all, Kanamori-sensei, did you forget what you did to your own student? Or is your head as empty as your ball sack?
Oh shit. Oh, says the one who has targeted so many little boys. The art teacher who stripped the innocent bodies and drew pictures of them naked. It was an act of art, you perverted teacher. Besides, how do you explain what you did? It was an act of love, you perverted teacher. Everything I did was out of love. Fuck you. Fuck you both, you fucking nonsense. Was what you were doing for love? Not at all. You were just taking your lust out on those boys. Look at you blowing all that hot air. What makes you so much better than me? My number of victims has been limited to 1. Yours were numerous. Mine was out of love. Yours out of lust. Fine, let's have a contest to see which one of us is the real pervert teacher. I couldn't ask for anything more, Shintani-sensei. Alright, how shall we compete? I, Yoshihito Kanamori, despite my appearance, am well versed in both the literary and martial arts. I'm a man who has never known defeat when it comes to love. Your love was for an 8-year-old student. Fuck off. If you're truly a perverted teacher, then you've probably already heard this one. Parent perverted teacher conferences of death. What the fuck? No, anything but that! What the hell was all that? Let's leave these crazy trash-talking teachers alone. Now then, what's over there? Right, we're just gonna be popping around and seeing various people, eh?
Drawings are meant to portray emotion. Without emotion, they're nothing more than a substitute for photos.
Oh, you.
I see. Drawings and paintings are so profound.
So now he's modeling for Shuichi, eh? Good thing he's keeping his clothes on this time.
If I draw you exactly the way you look, then it'd be the same as pulling out a camera and taking a picture. So I draw the way you look based on my emotions. Now that you mention it, Shintani-sensei said something similar.
I've never seen one of Shintani-sensei's drawings. Yeah, thank God.
What kind of drawings does she do? Kind of embarrassing ones, I guess.
That's an interesting way of describing a picture. At the very least, for you to feel so hesitant while describing it. As a work of art, it sounds very intriguing.
Art is quite complicated though, isn't it? Would the sketch you're doing of me be considered a work of art as well?
Of course.
I'm always drawing so that I can teach people to feel emotions. It's not a picture this time though, I'm drawing a manga.
Oh, manga?
That's amazing. Is it going to be published in Shonen Jump?
Fuck. I nearly said Shonen Jump.
Probably something more like my next exclusive doujin. There's a pretty steady demand for purely uke types like you.
Mate! You just had to ruin it.
Maybe if the reception is good, I can do some revisions to it and resell it at Natsukomi.
I'm not quite sure what they're talking about, but I have a feeling that it's not a very respectable manga they're discussing. Let's see if there's a better group of people around here. Ah, these guys look better. Looks like they're having a nice laid-back girls' talk. Great, who is it this time? That's not a girl. Well, sometimes people call that spirit photography, but...
What? So most spirit photos are fake?
Doesn't most mean that a portion of them are the real thing? It's true. Spirit photos actually exist.
Wow, Then is this strange ball of light in the picture I took a spirit?
That's called a spirit orb, sometimes the orb phenomena. It's when a spirit gets caught in the picture in the form of a little ball. If you take a picture at a gravesite, suicide site, or haunted area, they'll appear in large groups.
Wow, they're in all the pictures that I take. Yeah, because you're I wonder if that means I'm being haunted by a spirit or something.
You can't rule out the possibility. If you think you're being haunted, you should try talking to a specialist on the subject. Photos are a great way for spirits to warn you about things. Don't ignore it. Definitely look into it.
Isn't that just dust on the lens? All cases of spirit photography can be explained as being simple technical issues with the camera.
Really? It's not a spirit photograph of something that's been haunting me?
No way. There's no way that can happen. I guarantee it as a camera expert.
Nanamiya-kun, when you start talking about cameras, you act a little cool.
Flah! Are you making fun of spirit photography? I'm gonna make sure to stand in all your pictures from here on out.
A cameraman and two ghosts talking about spirit photography. That's all sorts of surreal. What's going on over there? Well, if it isn't the one-eyed brat. Oh, I forget her name. The one with the eye patch. She hasn't actually just got one eye.
You don't have any psychic powers. You're a normal person.
Oh, fuck you, rabbit abuser.
What?
You don't know anything about my powers, and you're not nearly as good as the rumors make you out to be. I guess it's no use. I didn't want to show you my power, but here it goes. Come forth, my shadow. Terminal decay, castanets of Hamelin. Oh my god.
I see. In that case, I'll call mine as well. My guardian beast. Come forth, Sakunoshin-sama.
Please, no.
Who are you? I am the leader of animal spirits, Sakunoshin.
Ah, hello. I am but a lowly yokai named Hamelin. Here, have this.
Oh, a meat cake! Thanks! Who are you?
It's really good with wasabi soy sauce. Oh, if you ever want to know a great place to get rabbit soup, just let me know.
Ah, a rapid ranged attack from all directions.
Ha! No way that level of composure. Is he a Class S?
You're slow on the uptake.
Eat up, guardian beast! Thanks for all the food. Nom. Wasabi is good, but I like spicy mustard.
What amazing eating power. I am but a lowly yokai, but please accept my best regards. What the hell? Well, they seem to be having fun, so let's leave them be. At any rate, this is the world of daydreams. If you think about things too seriously, it'll just seem stupid. Oh, is that the Azami Sumire sisters over there? Fucking hell, no! Not them. Actually, yes, them. I do like them. You idiot! Bullying will never disappear. That's why we use it for nourishment.
No, I will make it disappear. I won't allow it to exist. Well, in her defense, it has been completely eradicated from our class.
That's because Yukari violently repressed it.
I would have phrased it differently, but you're right. I moderate the bullying with righteous violence. I uphold the order in my class. I heard that if you don't vote for her as the next class representative, she'll punch you. What is this, sister? Is bullying really powerless in the face of brute force?
That's because bullying is a democracy. It may be powerless before Yukari's power-based dictatorship.
What? See, that's cheating, Yukari. Bullying should be free. Down with the violent dictatorship. Without bullying, we'll starve.
I think there's a lot to be learned from bullying in this world. Isn't one way of putting up with the poison of society to practice allowing yourself to experience a diluted version of it?
And there it is, sister's perfectly hypocritical argument. It's a needed evil, a vaccine needed to survive society. If anyone in my class wants to bully someone, they'll be doing it over my dead body. Whoa, Sakaki, you're so cool. You look like a giant. Ow! Sakaki, sorry. You're making fun of me, commenting on my height again. Punch! Oh my god. Whose argument are you calling perfectly hypocritical? Ah, sister, don't bully me!
When they're around that age, girls tend to be taller and stronger anyway. Well, maybe it's a good thing for those brats to be forced to behave by the whip of a girl. Still, we haven't seen anything but nonsensical daydreams so far. I'm starting to think that there aren't really any laid-back daydreams.
Yeah, what is everyone... Who is daydreaming, by the way?
Oh, it's so peaceful.
So peaceful. It's really nice when the infirmary is this peaceful.
It's normally really busy. Every day, kids come bawling their eyes out over absurd yet laughable injuries.
So when it's quiet in the infirmary, that means no one's getting hurt. Oh, ho, ho. That's all the better.
Don't things get peaceful for you the same reason, Headmaster? When things are quiet, that means that there are no foolish beings being devoured by yōkai.
Ho, ho, ho. The younger yōkai have been hunting quite enthusiastically lately. You've all been keeping me very busy.
It's always something. Someone's always making work for us. I wish I could find a nice man. Hey, Renoir-kun. You're a yōkai that can go in and out of art, right? Can you pull a really good-looking guy out of some art for me? I can't bring anything out of the artwork, but I might be able to invite you into one. Does artwork only mean paintings and portraits? Stuff like that? Can you do it with the art in a book or a manga? I've never tried before, but probably. Whoa!
1 second, I'll be right back! With a roar, the school nurse ran over to her office desk and pulled out the lowest drawer and started pulling out multiple thin books that were hidden in the far back.
Are you okay with this, Headmaster?
Even teachers need to relax every once in a while. Who am I to complain if they do it in 2D?
Oh my god.
Renoir-kun? No, wait, Renoir-sama? Can you do this book first? First up is Otoyo-sama. No, wait, Masato-sama.
Oh my god.
The ability to dive into 2D, huh?
Sounds like a stand ability.
Some people would consider Renoir's power to be that of a god. Leaving that aside, Headmaster and the nurse, you two should get back to work.
Well, the reason that the headmaster has some free time is because the vice principal is doing his job. Let's head to where the VP is. I've forgotten who the vice principal is. Black tea gentleman. Yeah.
That's not true at all, right, Midori-san? Dreaming is a wonderful thing to do, right?
Yes, Black tea gentleman. Dreams are hope's compass. Without them, people wouldn't be able to go on living. God, this music is loud.
Yeah, morons. Learn to face reality. Leave dreams to when you're lying in bed. If you've got time to dream in the first place, you ain't spending enough time exercising. Right, Aya?
Yes. It feels really good to clear your mind and just run every single day until you can come home and collapse into bed. You'll sleep too soundly to dream.
Oh dear. It appears that Izanami-san has turned Aya-san's brain into nothing more than another muscle.
And look at you. You fucked this girl's vision so bad she can't even focus. Hell, Midori. Look here. How many fingers am I holding up?
Many. Many hands from the crowds of people clapping for me, asking for an encore.
Well, never mind that. As long as that person is happy, everything's okay, right? Aya-san, are you happy right now?
Well, my club activities are really tough, but I guess.
That's good. Izanami-sensei, I think we can call this one a draw this time too.
How is this a draw? My plucky little girl Aya's one hell of a good sprinter. Your drowsy princess don't even hold a candle to her.
Well, I think that my girl Midori-san has quite the spirit as well. She gives it her all to live in her dream world. A hell of a good dreamer.
That's it. This is a showdown. Aya, Midori, get in the ring.
This is utter chaos. The world of daydreams really is great for killing time. Now, where to?
Oh, hello there. If it isn't Kyo-san.
No, sorry.
If it isn't Kyo-san, we were just about to have some tea if you'd like to join.
Oh, thanks for the offer. Don't mind if I do.
Now then, Marie, what kind of tea cake will we be having today? Ta-da! Today I found some sugar cookies. But Marie, don't you only have 2? Are you not going to have any?
I'll give our guest Kyo-san one, and then you and I will split one, Higanbana-san.
Kyo, get out of here! You have 5 seconds.
People who treat guests like that don't get to have any snacks.
I apologize.
Higanbana, you've changed quite a bit recently.
Shut up! I don't care if I have to apologize for sugar cookies. By the way, Marie, how are you going to split that one cookie in 2?
Huh? I was just gonna break it into 2 equal parts.
So you say, but in actuality, you're planning to break them into uneven parts and take the bigger one. I know your tricks.
Alright, here's what we'll do. Why don't I choose the opposite of what you don't choose?
Huh? I don't really get it, but if it's possible for me to profit from it, I've got no problem with that.
Okay then, Higanbana-san, would you like to divide it into 2?
Of course I would. I'll split them in exceptionally unevenly. I'll get the whole cookie that I originally should have had. And Marie will be left clicking the sugar at the bottom of the bag.
That's awfully mean to do to someone who just brought you a snack.
That's because I am exceptionally cruel. Okay, Marie, I split it into 2. I choose the bigger one.
Okay then, I get the bigger one so you can have the smaller one.
Huh? 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 Huh?
Don't worry, I'll give you the sugar at the bottom of the bag. Open wide and say, ah. Higanbana has changed pretty significantly. Or maybe this is just another daydream. Oh man, looks like I'm interfering. Yeah, you made them split the cookie.
Marie! How dare you trick me? My sugar cookie! My cookie! Ah!
The other day I asked if you wanted to share a slice of sweet chestnut jelly, and you took the whole thing. I really wanted to eat it too.
You, the lowly 8th ranked yōkai, do you really intend to go against the 3rd ranked dancing Higanbana?
If you start being too selfish, I'll never bring you another snack again.
Higanbana flew from her feet to the ground to prostrate herself before Marie. This may be... Oh my god. Suddenly a song. I was just about to say, this may be a daydream, but this is giving me a kind of closure that I was hoping I would get and I felt like I wouldn't. So I'm glad I'm getting this. Man, the guys at this school sure aren't boring. By the way, it's winter break right now. The school is quiet and empty. I wonder if the opening ceremony for the next term is starting soon. See you later, brats. Let's meet during school hours next time. See you next term. Credits? Credits. Japanese this time. Wait a minute, I didn't recognize that last person, now that I think about it. Ooh. And that is that. Ooh. See you later, eh? I'm gonna miss this one. Oh, it's daytime now. Huh. Oh, wait, hang on. We unlocked a library and a music room. I will miss this game because... Oh my good god, I didn't realize she had these sort of tartan leg warmers. What the fuck? Wait, why she got a chain? Did we ever see this chain before? Wait, what? Change outfit? Oh, right. Hang on, I want to see the one that we, Oh, it's this girl with the glasses removed. I think this might be the first time I've seen Higanbana's full character sprite. Oh well. And in the music room, we've of course unlocked the music. I really do like the music in this game. Oh boy. Oh, yes, that one. Lots of good songs in this, honestly. Some of them sound a lot like Umineko songs. Like this one. This one sounds... No, wait, this one sounds more like a Higurashi song. This sounds like an Umineko song. But yeah. Oh well, let's get back out of this. And that brings us into daytime. And we have finished Higanbana no Saku Yoru. As an anthology game, I do kind of wish there were more stories, but that after school chapter, you know, it did leave it on a point where you're like, yeah, then these guys just enjoyed their days in school. Oh well. Thanks all of you for joining me in this. Now that we finished this, I'll see what else I can do, but I really enjoyed this, and I hope you did too. So have a good time, and hopefully we will see you again.